So DK is a lot more complicated than FanDuel is. Like I said, FanDuel, you can kind of do whatever the heck you want. But if we go to DK, quarterback wise, everybody's priced the heck up. Caden Anderson may be in play at 6,800. That's kind of being forced though by their running back situation. Ben Finley could maybe be in play. They're going to chuck the ball, but he has no rushing upside. I personally am avoiding both of them, but I think that you could make cases that they're viable. Caton Hauser, no shot. I'll play CJ Bailey all day, every day, twice on Sunday over Caton Hauser in this matchup. And then not touching these guys at quarterback. Cam Fancher, terrible. Drake Lindsay, I still think you can take shots on Drake Lindsay just as on the off chance he could do something, but I would not have a big portfolio of that. Similarly, I think Dylan Raiola, you want to take shots, you go right ahead. But for my money, like Billy Edwards, also, you want to take shots, go right ahead. I think it's perfectly fine. I think the floor's high, the ceiling's a little bit low, probably. So if I was playing two quarterbacks, I'm playing Raiola with Bailey. But I think I'm playing four running backs. This is a running back heavy slate. I like the backs in this slate. So I want to get to the big boys. I don't know what to make of this Wyoming running back room. It's kind of a nightmare. Kelman got hype. Scott was the starter last year. Kelman got hype in the spring. Harris has gotten some pub. And then Max White has been the latest guy to get some hype. I think you can take shots on Max White knowing that they're going to kind of move carries around. There was a three-way or on this depth chart. I think you could take shots on Max White at 3K and punt and hope that you get something there. If you hit on that, it's a tournament winning strategy. I think that's a multi-enter strategy, not a single entry strategy though. Hollywood Smothers is the only back in play for me out of this game. I think they're going to lean a little too much into Marlon Gunn. So I would go Hollywood Smothers as an option. I don't know that I'll play it in this lineup, but we'll see. But he's going to be in the pool for sure. UCF, like we said, I'm heavily going to be invested in Miles Montgomery with him being the starter. Cam Cook, not really interested. I think that's something for later in the year. Brian, who hosts one of the shows with me, he brought up freaking what's his face, Gavin Wimsatt, and I'm like, you are nuts, sir. JB, I probably prefer. I like Montgomery a good bit. I like Smothers. I like Gaines. I think Sherrod's going to play a good bit on FanDuel. I think Sherrod's going to play a good bit and take some carries away from Gaines. That's kind of the concern with him being banged up a good bit. I think they limit his carries. Smothers, I do like. I just don't know how much I want to pair him with CJ Bailey because I feel like I'm taking equity away from CJ Bailey because I'm kind of hoping CJ Bailey has a rushing touchdown or two now that he's bulked up. He's over 200 pounds now. He's gained about 30 pounds from 170 when he came in. I really like Dylan Jones as the RB2 or Miles Montgomery as an RB2 on FanDuel with Darius Taylor. And I don't know that Darius Taylor's a lock, but he should be on FanDuel given the half-point PPR nature and how much touchdown equity he has in that game. I think the realistic possibility he's probably minus money on the odds board to be 2 touchdown plus scorer if I was to take it from there. But like on DK, for instance, at 9K, I don't think you can play him. I think people will play the heck out of him, but I think he's too expensive on DK. I would rather take shots on AJ Turner to open up the salary on the rest of the slate because Turner averaged over 8 yards a carry last year. So DK specific, I would lean towards an AJ Turner, lean towards a Cam Davis. I would probably lean Turner for me. Davis is supposed to operate in the short yardage a little bit. And at 3,100, if he scores a touchdown, it's, he's paid off his salary. But yeah, Darius Taylor for me is just too pricey for me to touch. And that's probably the stand I'm going to make, but I'm not playing a ton of volume by comparison to what I'll play Saturday and what I normally play on Thursday, just because DK's pricing is so tight. I don't like taking random risk, we'll say. Emmett Johnson, 100% in play at 7,500. If you're not playing Raiola, you can easily go there. It's a good place to hit. He was so good late in the season last year, 19, 15, 28, 22. The catch totals are nice with five or more in each game. I love that. So if we can get something in that realm, I think this is a game that he can put up a 20-plus point total, get me that 3x value. I really like that. And then the best value on the slate at the running back position is Dylan Jones. He had no or on the depth chart, which was huge for me. So I'm going to skip this game for a second because I'm going to come back to that. That's going to be a big pinch point, in my opinion. I think these ECU wideouts are too priced up. I think Joe Lee is a good target. He's probably the only guy I would target at 63 in the player pool. I think you can put these guys in the pool, but I prefer them so much on FanDuel that I'd rather take shots there. And Hauser struggled so bad with NC State in that bowl game. But I think Yannick Smith's still my favorite. I think he catches more balls. Full void on these guys. I can't play a wide receiver attached to Cam Fancher nor Gavin Wimsatt. Jacksonville State's a 60% run team, more than likely. I think Victor Snow's good. I would probably prefer to play Nate McMillan if I was going to take a shot there. I don't think you need to. Similarly, if I want to take shots, I'm taking shots on Javon Tracy from Minnesota. I'm leaning into him being the top wideout here. I just don't know how much they throw the ball. But if I'm taking shots, it's on Tracy because he's one of my favorite players from last year, so I'm going to take shots. Let's go here because Nebraska is a big deal too. Wisconsin. So the other day, I know Vinny Anthony's could be the one. I don't know that I want to take shots. I think I'm going to lean into this run game with Dylan Jones. And then Cole Weaver, I hyped up. I had seen hype on him. He's not even the start. He's not starting. He's going to be the backup to Colsey. Colsey's the clear number one now based off of that depth chart. So I'm not going to lean into Cole Weaver as my top value here. Now, looking at this one. So this is where things get kind of interesting. Dane Key, I think, is the top play for Nebraska, but he's priced as it. Barney, I think, is a very good PPR option at 64. I think it's reasonable. You want to play Barney, you go right ahead. I have no issues with that. He's going to catch a ton of balls. He's going to scheme touches. How much touchdown equity does he have? Not a lot. I mean, he didn't score last year. He was one of their more targeted guys later in the year. Caldwell at 57. I'm probably off here, but he's in the pool. Royer, similarly, in the pool. Allen, I've kind of started to warm up to at 53. I do remember how good he was at Louisiana Tech prior to his stint at Texas A&M. So I'm open to Cyrus Allen at 53 as a play. And then Harburg at 3K, he's probably going to end up being the tight end. They did target the tight end a good bit, and he's a member of the former quarterback there. So I think Harburg should be in your pool just in case. Now, this is the decision point of the whole slate for me. Gillenberg, you want to play him, go right ahead. He's freaking right up there with Tyler Warren's and Brock Bowers's of the world as far as a tight end quality-wise. It's just the pass game's not going to be there. Everything for me comes down to these Akron wideouts. Adams, we haven't seen play well since like 2022. So I'm out there. That's a ridiculous price. This Joe Moorhead system is going to chuck the ball. So it comes down to two guys for me. Do you want to take a shot on Israel Polk at 3,500, who's going to start? Or do you want to take a shot on Kyan Mason at 3,300? Message boards say Kyan Mason's going to be the starting slot wide receiver, and that's a profitable position. So right now, my lean is on Mason to put him in. So this is why I'm trending towards this multiple wide receiver or multiple running back, 4 running back play, because I don't really want to put Raiola in that super flex with no rushing capability. So I'm kind of leaning towards give me Emmett Johnson, and then I can kind of play a little bit at wide receiver. But looking at running back wise, I think Evan Pryor's in play maybe, but I don't really want to pick on Nebraska's defense with that. It's probably like, hey, let me take a shot on Smothers. But let me see. I mean, let's just say we take the shot on Smothers. Let's say we play them together. But maybe we play for some touchdown pass equity. That's where I kind of ran into some problems because I want at that point Cyrus Allen. And then that leaves me with kind of this range, which stinks. So that's why I don't want to do that. Maybe you go McMillan at that point at 47. But then that doesn't get you Barney, which is the problem. Sorry, this is where I work through things. So, like, I don't want to triple stack NC State. That's where, yeah. I mean, this is where I ran into problems earlier trying to play with this. So it's interesting that Emmett Johnson's the same price as Raiola, right? Because then you kind of say, okay, do I want to take Emmett Johnson knowing that he's going to get me probably 15 to 20 points, or do I want to take the shot on Raiola when he was struggling to get to 15 points last year? So Cincinnati, what's a similar matchup to Cincinnati? Like, not Illinois, Purdue. I mean, he had 12 points. So, like, his rushing totals kill him. Can he throw for 300 yards and multiple touchdowns is the question. Possibly, but I'd probably rather go Emmett Johnson thinking that he can. So then the question becomes, do you want to go A.J. Turner here? I think that might end up being the play, is throw in one punt here, one punt here. Now you got 6,700 for wide receiver. That gives me the option to go with like a Barney Jolie, no problem. I could also still make a decision to go with the Wyoming guy, which is still in play. Actually, you could go Wyoming guy and Darius Taylor. That's interesting. Okay, so let's see. Let's see if we go. Well, I don't really particularly want to have Dane Key in that situation. If I go Yannick, I have 62, which is a pain point because then now you're stuck with Victor Snow or Logan Loya. You know what? I want to see something. What if you go Darius Taylor? I don't particularly want to, but I might. You know, when you play multiple, you play multiple. Because now I can take that shot on Wyoming. Yep. That's it. Yep. Because you could take Barney now. Yep, you're still 100 short. If I could get Barney and Yannick Smith here, I would want to do it. But you can't. And that's a problem. I can go Jolie and Yannick. I don't hate that. Sometimes, so what I'll say is one of my biggest weaknesses in DFS for college football is sometimes I'm afraid I try to balance too much and get my Darius Taylor in, or not get my Darius Taylor in, take 2 guys in that 6K range, but then Taylor blows up and outscores the combination of the two guys in the 6K range. And then I don't even get to include my 3K crapper. So if my 3K crapper scores a touchdown, then I'm in real good shape. So like this, I like this from a tournament aspect a lot. I get a game stack of NC State, East Carolina in here. And then I'm looking for touchdown equity on Joe Lee. I would much prefer to play Ja'Cory Barney right here. But as you can see with his game lines, this is kind of what we're looking for is 9 for 85, 4 for 74. We're looking for something short area like that where we can rack that up. It's just a question of if he could score a touchdown, and he has some rushing equity, but he never scored a receiving touchdown last year. So I'd prefer to be able to get him in. And there is the idea that you could go him and Noah Rodgers, and then you're banking on Noah Rodgers having a breakout season. He had a good game against East Carolina last time out. Maybe. I mean, that could be another way to play it, to have a little bit more upside. I do just like Yannick and that late season surge he had with 60, 112, 60, and then right around 60 again. I do like that consistency that he showed late in the year. Problem is Joe Lee going to be explosive enough? He's not a big yardage guy. Most yards he had last year is 95. He's going to get you double-digit points. It's one of those, he's safe. Does he have the upside to take you down a tournament? Probably not. I'm a big Gillenborg guy. So I'm tempted by Gillenborg. Like that 5 for 137 stands out as his ceiling. But like Barney Rodgers might be the better move here. So like, let's just say we go Rodgers, Barney. That probably has as much floor, but a little bit more ceiling. So, but then that's where you get into that similar situation. I don't mind playing Barney with Emmett Johnson. And then I have no issues, like I said, with you could go Kelman, be fine. And then AJ Turner, I think, is a good pivot off of Darius Taylor. So lots of questions. Like I said, DK is a tough build. I think nailing that Akron wideout is going to be a key to the slate. If you could nail the Wyoming running back situation, also key to the slate. FanDuel, build whatever the heck you want. It's free squares all over the place. There's $5,500 good wideouts in there. CJ Bailey, by far and away my top quarterback on DK. I think you can take shots on these, on the Akron guys. I think you could take shots around there. I think you could even maybe take a shot on Gavin Wimsatt, but he sucks, so I really wouldn't. But yeah, I'm going to lean into single quarterback. This just feels like a single quarterback slate where there is talent enough at running back that it's worth it, and you can treat Darius Taylor as the second quarterback in reality if you wanted to. But with the pricing the way it is, I'm just going to treat it that way. So look forward to the Friday slate because, in my opinion, that is a fun one. I think there's a lot of value to be gained, and we're really going to know how many people are building on their own versus how many people are using paid services based on how heavy the ownership is on Walker Eget. Because I'm going to bet that 90% of the people who play DFS don't know who the heck Walker Eget is. But you'll find out probably tomorrow. I'll probably stream that and get the lineups built for Friday tomorrow. And then we'll be in relax mode and enjoying our first day of football and our full day. And then hopefully take down a tournament early in the year. And we're free rolling for the rest of the year and take shots at all the big boy tournaments. So good luck on your Thursday slate. And I will see you guys tomorrow for Friday lineup building. Goodbye.